We saw ourselves across the lake, but we were here. I want to start by saying I'm not some paranoid lunatic. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think Bigfoot's real. And I definitely don't think some government is watching us with satellites in the woods. But something happened to me and my friends in the Cascades last summer that I can't explain. And I need to tell someone before I lose my mind trying to forget it. There were 4 of us. Me, Tyler, his girlfriend Alyssa, and our buddy Drew. We'd been planning this camping trip for months, just a classic, off-grid, no-signal, bring-your-own-toilet paper kind of deal. Tyler found this spot on Reddit. Some user dropped pins to this untouched lake basin deep in the Cascades, about 20 miles from the nearest trailhead. Said it was serene, secluded, and stupidly beautiful. Perfect, right? We all met up in Seattle, stocked the Subaru with REI gear, Yeti coolers, way too many Costco trail snacks, and hit the road with maps printed out just in case. Everyone was excited. Nobody knew what was coming. We hiked 2 days to get there. No marked trails, just compass, GPS, and Tyler being Tyler. Overconfident and half wrong most of the time. But eventually we reached it. The lake was unreal. Still as glass, dark and deep, rimmed by thick pine trees that blocked out most of the sky. And not a soul in sight. No voices, no distant campers, no fires, just us and silence. Total isolation. First night was chill. We set up camp near the north edge of the lake. Drew started a fire. Alyssa cooked these dehydrated backpacking meals that tasted like warm sadness. We drank a few beers and passed around a flask of Fireball until the woods stopped feeling scary and just felt like background. That night, I woke up around 3 a.m. Had to piss. I stepped out of the tent, shoes crunching softly on dry pine needles. Everything was pitch black, except the lake. Moonlight hit it just right, like a sheet of cold metal. I looked across it, out of instinct more than anything, and that's when I saw them. 4 figures, on the opposite shore, standing motionless, just watching. They weren't doing anything, just standing there, dead still. The distance made it hard to see any detail, but I swear to God they looked like us. Same height differences, same builds. One of them even had a beanie like Drew. I didn't move. I thought I was hallucinating, or maybe I'd stumbled on some weird shadows. So I blinked, stepped closer to the water, and they moved. Not toward us, not away, just slightly, like adjusting their stance, still watching. I backed up, heart hammering, almost tripped over a rock, got back into the tent, shaking, told myself it was probably distant trees or an animal, but I didn't sleep. The next day I didn't mention it. I figured I imagined it, until Alyssa lost her phone. She had it zipped in the side pouch of the tent, swore she did. She freaked out, thought maybe a raccoon dragged it off. But the tent wasn't unzipped. There were no claw marks, no scattered stuff, just gone. We spent an hour looking, then gave up. Everyone started to feel weird. We kept hearing branches snap during the day, kept seeing footprints in places we hadn't walked. Drew joked we had ghost squirrels, but he was checking his knife more often. Tyler brushed it off, but I could tell he wasn't chill anymore. Then that second night, things got worse. It was about 11. We were back at the fire, quieter this time, when we saw the light. A faint glow across the lake. like a lantern or a headlamp. And then voices, low, muted, like someone was talking just out of earshot. Drew stood up. "Is that another group?" he asked. Tyler squinted. "Not supposed to be anyone out here. This place isn't even on maps. Maybe someone else found it." But the tone of his voice didn't match what he was saying. Then Alyssa said the one thing that turned my blood to ice. "Why does one of them look like me?" She was right. I saw it too. In that dim light across the lake, a girl, same hoodie, same hair, standing just like her, beside 3 others. That's when I told them about the night before. The 4 figures, the watching, the stillness. No one laughed. No one called me crazy. Because deep down, I think we all knew. They weren't just watching. They were waiting. I don't remember how long we stared at those lights. Long enough that the fire died down. Long enough for the cold to crawl into our bones. No one spoke. Not really. There were half sentences, murmurs, like if we said too much out loud it would become more real. Tyler finally said what we were all thinking. "That's not possible." He was staring across the lake like he could logic it into disappearing. His voice had that edge, not fear, not yet, but disbelief. Drew picked up his flashlight and pointed it toward the figures. "We should go over there," I snapped at him. "Are you out of your mind? They're just people, probably hikers, maybe locals. We're 20 miles from any trailhead. Locals don't hang out in the middle of nowhere mimicking strangers." He lowered the flashlight slowly. No one offered a counterpoint. Alyssa sat down, arms wrapped around her knees, rocking a little. That freaked me out more than the lights. She never rattled easy. Then the lights flicked out. All of them. Gone. Just trees, black water, and silence. We didn't sleep. The next morning, the campsite felt wrong. I don't have another word for it. It looked the same. Tents intact, gear untouched, lakes still like glass. But it felt like stepping into a room right after a fight. Like something ugly had happened while we were unconscious. Tyler and Drew insisted we hike around to the other side of the lake to check things out. I refused. Alyssa didn't say a word, just stood there pale and stiff like a mannequin. I stayed with her while the guys loaded their day packs and left. They were gone 3 hours, and when they came back, Tyler's lip was split, and Drew was walking funny, like his ankle had been twisted. Tyler told me they didn't make it far. They started around the edge, following the natural bank, quiet, watching the trees. About a mile in, they found an old campsite, recently used, coals still warm in the fire pit, 3 half-eaten granola bars, a rusted camping pot on a tree stump, one of those generic Walmart dome tents, torn down the middle like something had clawed through it. That's when they heard the screaming. Drew said it sounded like me, but I hadn't screamed. Tyler said it came from the trees, high-pitched, gurgling, like someone was choking and yelling at the same time. They didn't see anyone, just kept hearing footsteps that stopped when they stopped. Then something threw a rock the size of a cantaloupe at Drew's leg. Came from uphill, no warning. They ran. I asked if they saw the others. They didn't answer, just exchanged a look. We packed up that afternoon. We should have left earlier, but we were scared. Not just of what was out there, but of the idea that whatever it was, it might follow us if we moved too fast, like prey. We didn't talk much, just shoved gear into bags and stuffed everything we could into the bear canister. We started the hike out around 3 p.m, later than we wanted. The sun sets early in those woods. By 6, it was getting dark. And then we found the footprints. Not ours, not boot prints. Bare feet. Human. Too clean. Like someone had walked barefoot for miles but didn't collect a single piece of dirt or debris. They circled back and forth across the trail, and in the center of one was Alyssa's phone. Powered off. No scratches. Just sitting there on a mossy rock like someone placed it for us to find. She didn't pick it up. None of us did. We kept walking. At 7:20 the sun was gone. Drew's limp had gotten worse. We had to slow down. That's when we saw the light again, a single lantern glow, ahead of us, on the trail. And then, this part I swear on my life, we heard Drew's voice, coming from the dark. "Guys, I think I'm lost." But Drew was right there, next to me, clutching his thigh, white as a ghost. The voice repeated, "Guys, can you wait?" Same inflection, same phrasing, same tired edge Drew gets when he's annoyed. We all turned off our headlamps. Then we saw them. 4 silhouettes, maybe 30 yards down the trail, lantern between them. Same heights, same gear. One had Tyler's red REI jacket. Another held Alyssa's teal beanie in her hand. The third, me I think, had a limp. And the fourth one was holding Drew's knife. We didn't move. For a full 30 seconds, maybe longer, we stood there staring at ourselves, or what looked like us, illuminated faintly by the glow of that lantern. No one breathed. No one spoke. Even the forest seemed to hush itself, like it was holding its breath for whatever came next. Then they moved. Not toward us, not away, just off the trail, sideways, one by one, vanishing behind trees without a sound. No snapping twigs, no rustling brush, like shadows slipping between the cracks of the world. Tyler finally whispered, "What the fuck was that?" Drew was trembling so bad I could hear his teeth clack. Alyssa turned and vomited behind a tree. I wanted to run. I think we all did. But the trail ahead, the one we had to take to get back, was where they'd just been. None of us wanted to go forward, and we couldn't go back. Not after what Drew and Tyler saw at that torn-up campsite. "We wait till dawn," I said. "Here." We waited out. Tyler disagreed at first, said we had the gear, we had headlamps. We could push through, but he didn't push hard. He was scared too. We set up a makeshift camp right off the trail. No fire, no food, just sleeping bags and paranoia. Alyssa didn't sleep at all. She sat against a tree, knees up, arms wrapped around her shivering body, whispering to herself. I don't know what she was saying, but I caught one phrase over and over. "That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That wasn't me." Drew passed out from pain and exhaustion. His leg was bad. I could smell the infection starting. Tyler and I took turns watching. At around 2:30 a.m, I saw the flashlight. It flicked on suddenly, about 40 feet out, just past a small ridge. Not like someone turned it on to see. No, it flicked on like a signal. A flare. A taunt. It wasn't moving. Then a second one flicked on behind us. Then a third. They stayed on for maybe 10 seconds. Then off. I shook Tyler awake. But by the time he sat up, they were gone. The dark returned, heavier than before. I lied and told him I'd imagined it. At first light, we packed, fast, no coffee, no food. Just bags over shoulders, Drew leaning on me like dead weight. We headed back down the trail, quiet, slow. Everything was wrong. There were no birds, no chipmunks, no squirrels, just absence. Like the forest had emptied itself out to make room for something worse. About 2 hours in, we found the notebook. It was wet, mouldy, stuffed in a hollow log near the path. Tyler pulled it out and immediately dropped it, saying, "Nope, no way." I picked it up, against my better judgment. The cover was faded REI canvas soaked through. Inside, the writing was smeared but still legible in places. Pages and pages of scattered thoughts, some in huge panicked scrawls, some in neat little paragraphs. The entries weren't dated, but the last page stopped me cold. It said, "They aren't mimicking, they're learning. They become more accurate the more they watch. Don't sleep, don't speak, don't look in the mirror." That last line made my blood run cold. I looked up, and I swear, across the trail, maybe 20 yards away, there was someone crouched behind a tree. I only saw them for a split second, just enough to catch the shape, the stillness, and the color of their jacket. It was my jacket. I didn't tell the others. We just kept walking. Then the trail changed. I don't know how to explain it, but we started passing things that felt familiar. A pair of broken sunglasses in the dirt, Drew's kind, the exact same pair. Alyssa's water bottle, the one she lost on the first day, hanging from a branch by its strap. A burned corner of our fire-starting kit. And then we reached the clearing. A campsite. Ours. The first one. The one from 2 nights ago. We were back. Somehow. Full circle. But it wasn't ours. Not exactly. Because there were 4 tents this time. Not 3. One of them was zipped up. And from inside we heard whispering. Not words, just tones. Breathy, stuttering mimicry. Like someone trying to learn how to speak. Or fake it. And then something laughed. High-pitched. Mocking. Like someone pretending to be human and not quite getting it right. We backed away slowly. Then something unzipped the 4th tent. The zipper noise felt like a gunshot. That soft, metallic sheep in the total silence of the woods sent every nerve in my body into full scream mode. Tyler raised his hiking pole like it was a damn sword. Alyssa whimpered. Drew whispered no, over and over like a prayer. And me? I froze. Just stood there watching the tent flap peel open, slow as death. What came out wasn't right. It was human, mostly, kind of. It had the shape of a man, the arms, the legs, the face, but the movements were off, like someone wearing a human suit for the first time. Its head tilted too far to the left, its arms swung too loosely. Its smile was too wide, like it had seen someone do it once, and was trying to mimic the shape without knowing why. Then it spoke. In my voice. Where are you guys going? The voice was flat, like it had been recorded and played back on old tape. The same pitch, same rhythm, but wrong. Dead and hollow. I don't remember deciding to run. I just know I was suddenly sprinting, dragging Drew with me, his arm slung over my shoulder like dead weight. Tyler was behind us, shouting for us to move, move. Alyssa screamed once, high and sharp, and then fell silent. I didn't look back. Branches slapped my face, my lungs burned. The trail wasn't even a trail anymore, just a vague direction, north, away, away from that thing in my skin. We ran for what felt like hours. Time didn't make sense anymore. Nothing did. Eventually, Drew collapsed. He couldn't move. His leg had gone completely stiff. I dropped beside him, gasping, shaking, looking around like an animal waiting for the trap to close. Tyler caught up. Pup bent over double, sweating bullets. "Where's Alyssa?" he panted. I looked at him and said nothing. His eyes went wide. "You didn't see her." I shook my head. He turned and took 2 steps back the way we came. I grabbed his arm. "Don't." His face twisted. Anger, fear, guilt. Then we heard her voice. "Aiden." It was far away, echoing through the trees, Alyssa's voice. Clear as day, but it was wrong. Drawn out. Mechanical, too perfect. Like someone ran it through an AI voice generator. Then, "Aiden, it's me, I'm cold, I need help. Please." Tyler's knees buckled. He dropped like someone unplugged him. Drew groaned, tried to sit up, then stopped. Because it was closer now. "Please, come back. Help me. I'm alone." "Come back." We didn't move. The forest went quiet again, dead quiet. And then, laughter. 3 different pitches, low, mid, high, all together, mocking. And then the sound of footsteps, dozens, all around. No yelling, no howls, just quiet footsteps circling us, closing in. Tyler whispered, "They're surrounding us." I didn't reply, because right then I saw movement. To the right, in the trees, ahead, tilting slowly, mine. Same face, same goddamn jacket, same expression I made when I was scared shitless but pretending not to be. It blinked. Wrong. Too slow. Then it smiled and started walking toward us. I stood, pulled Drew up. "We move. Now." Tyler didn't argue. We didn't know where we were going, just not there. We pushed deeper into the forest, off trail, through brambles and deadfall, everything slicing our legs and arms, but we didn't care. Pain meant we were alive. Pain meant we weren't them. Then, like a miracle, we found the service road. I don't know how. I don't care. It was real. Gravel, flattened dirt, tire tracks. We followed it until the sky started turning orange. And just before the bend, we found the car. Our Subaru. It should have been miles away. It was parked neatly on the side of the road, unlocked, untouched. And on the hood, written in dew, "You're not done." We stood there, panting, filthy, bleeding. Then Drew screamed, not out of fear, out of pain. His leg. It wasn't just swollen anymore. It was moving. Something was under the skin. Something was growing. Drew was clawing at his leg like he could rip the pain out with his fingernails. The skin around his thigh was bulging, twitching under the surface like something was swimming inside it. His screams tore through the trees, raw animal howls of someone begging for it to stop. I dropped my pack and grabbed him, pinning his shoulders as he writhed on the gravel beside the Subaru. "Hold him!" I shouted, but Tyler didn't move. He just stared, pale, mouth open, shaking his head. "No, no, no, man, no, what the fuck is that?" I looked down again. Drew's cargo pants were soaked in sweat and blood. And then I saw it. Movement. A shape. Long, thin, squirming, pressed against the fabric and pushed, like it was trying to crawl out of him. That's when he started begging. "Cut it out, Aiden, please, please, just fucking cut it out." I scrambled for my pack, found my knife, a Gerber I'd had since high school. My hands were trembling so bad I could barely flip the blade open. "Are you serious?" Tyler snapped. "You're gonna cut his leg open?" "He's asking me to." "Dude, you're not a surgeon, and you're not helping." I knelt beside Drew, grabbed the fabric just above his knee and slit it open. The thing inside jerked. Drew shrieked. I pulled the pant leg up. The skin was flushed purple-black, veins bulging and pulsing, and then a slit opened in his skin. Not from the knife, from inside. It split wide and something poked out, glossy, white, like cartilage or shell. I stumbled back, dropped the knife, gagging. Whatever it wasn't human. It looked like a centipede made of bone, writhing and twisting in the air before slipping back into the wound with a wet, sucking noise. Drew passed out cold. Tyler was backing away. "We need to leave. Now. We need to get in the car and fucking go." I didn't argue. We got Drew into the back seat, barely conscious, his leg leaking some kind of clear fluid. The smell was sour and metallic, like rust and rot. I gagged again, wiped my mouth, and slammed the door shut. I took the keys from Tyler and drove. We didn't talk. Not for the first 30 miles. Not until the trees started thinning and the GPS reconnected and the panic dulled into cold, buzzing exhaustion. Then Tyler finally spoke. "I don't think we're out." "What?" He was staring out the window, pale, sunken. "I don't think we left them. I think they let us go." I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because he was right. The forest didn't lose us. It released us. Like a cat batting a mouse before the final kill. We reached a hospital 2 hours later. I dropped Drew at the ER entrance and watched nurses carry him inside. I couldn't go with him. Not after what I'd seen in his leg. I didn't want to explain that. I didn't even want to think about it. Alyssa never made it out. We gave them her name, a photo, but I already knew. They wouldn't find her, not the real her. If they found anything at all, it would be a copy. Tyler left town 2 days later, quit his job, deleted all his socials. He sent me a single message before disappearing. "Don't trust your reflection." That night I stood in the bathroom and stared into the mirror. I waited, Nothing happened, but I swear. My reflection blinked first. It's been 7 months since the lake. 7 months since we ran, since we bled, since I watched Drew go silent and Alyssa get taken by something wearing her face. Since Tyler disappeared into whatever corner of the country still lets him sleep without checking the shadows. I haven't slept through a night since. I keep my curtains closed, mirrors covered, cameras off, anything that might show me, because I don't trust what I'll see. After Tyler's message, I started paying attention. Little things, off things. At first it was small, my toothbrush would be wet when I hadn't used it yet. The fridge light stayed on too long after I closed the door. My phone would be at 82% instead of 84%. I told myself I was paranoid. Then one morning I woke up and my shoes were muddy. I live on the 3rd floor, no pets, no mud. But the real break came a week ago. I found another journal, not mine. It was in my glove compartment, wrapped in plastic. Same canvas cover, same mouldy smell. Inside were pages of notes, sketches of me, entries in handwriting exactly like mine. Even the dumb little habit I have of crossing my sevens, but the entries weren't things I'd done. They were things I might do. Monday. Aidan will go to the store at 6:37. We'll wear the green hoodie. We'll buy the granola bars he hates. I read it at 6:40, and I was wearing the hoodie, with a new box of granola bars in the back seat. I tore the book to pieces, burned it in the sink. I thought that would help. That night I woke up to the smell of smoke, but my sink was dry, and my apartment door was unlocked. I called the hospital in Tacoma the next day, asked about Drew. The woman said there was no record of a patient by that name on the day we arrived. No admittance, no discharge, no Drew, just nothing. I called back later, used a different name, tried again, still nothing. So I drove there, walked into the ER, asked again. The receptionist gave me a confused look and said, "Didn't you already ask this last night?" "I've never been here before," I told her, but she just stared, like she was waiting for me to admit the lie. When I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of the security monitor behind her. It showed the front doors, looping footage, and I was on the screen, standing outside, watching, not moving, not blinking, not me. I left. I haven't gone back. And now there's this letter, slipped under my door last night. No stamp, no name, just a single sheet of paper inside, typed, not handwritten. "You are being studied. You are adapting. Soon you will be replaced. But not yet. Not until you're perfect." I'm writing this because I don't think I'll be around much longer. Not the real me, anyway. And if you're reading this, if you think you're still you, check your reflection. Check the way you move, the words you say, the habits you didn't used to have, because I promise you, the ones across the lake, they're still watching, and they're learning fast. We heard our own voices echoing back, saying different words. We were 5 friends, college roommates, dumb and cocky enough to think we were indestructible, but tired enough from city life to want a real break. So we booked a remote site in the North Cascades through some sketchy off-grid listing. No cell service, no park rangers nearby, No other campers for miles, supposedly. The guy who posted it on some weird hiking forum said it was pristine and private. We thought that sounded perfect. It took hours of driving through winding logging roads, then another hour of hiking with overloaded REI packs. I remember thinking the air smelled like cold pine needles and rot. That rich, wet, woodsy smell that makes your skin feel sticky even in the wind. The site had everything. River nearby, flat ground, even a fire ring. We set up 2 Costco tents, cracked some beers from the Yeti cooler, and started cooking bratwursts over a cheap Walmart fire grill. It was all jokes and smoke until sundown. That's when I noticed the first weird thing. Across the river, deep in the tree line, someone was standing. Not moving, not walking, just standing there. At first, I thought it was a burnt tree or some tall stump, but when I pointed it out, Kyle said, "Dude, that's not a tree." And I remember the others went quiet for a beat too long. Then one of us, I think Mark, shouted across, just messing around, "Hey, you want to join? Got hot dogs." No answer. The thing just stood there for a few more seconds, then took a step back and vanished into the dark trees. We made jokes, nervous ones. Probably some forest hermit, or Bigfoot trying to learn social skills. But that night, around 2 a.m., I woke up needing to piss. When I stepped out of the tent, it was dead silent. The kind of silence where you can hear your own breath and nothing else. Not even the river. That's when I heard whispering, low, almost like someone trying to mimic our voices. Except the words were off. I froze near the trees. I could hear it clearer now. My own name, being said over and over, but the voice. It was like someone doing a bad impression of me. Then another voice, sounded like Kyle's. "I'm cold," it whispered. Then, "Where's my knife?" Then, "They're still asleep." I bolted back to the tent, didn't sleep, just waited, holding the little camping knife I brought for whittling wood. In the morning, nothing looked disturbed. Nothing was missing, except for one thing, Kyle's boots. He thought maybe he left them near the fire ring. We all looked. For hours. They were just gone. No footprints, no drag marks, nothing. That's when we should have left, but we didn't. We spent most of that morning circling camp like idiots, stomping around in damp pine needles and loose gravel looking for Kyle's boots. Mark even started shouting things like, "All right, joke's over, give 'em back," as if one of us had pulled a prank. But we all knew none of us were laughing. Kyle was pissed. He ended up wearing his Crocs the rest of the day. Not exactly backcountry gear. The weird part? The fire pit had been reset, not just stirred. It looked perfect. Like someone had dug out the ashes, arranged the stones into a new circle, and laid a neat little bundle of kindling in the middle. None of us had done that. "Could be some hiker screwing with us," Jules said, "trying to freak us out." "Then why didn't they take anything else?" I asked. No one answered. We stayed in camp the rest of the day, didn't hike, didn't explore. We just stayed close, drank a little more than usual, and tried to shake off the feeling. Night 2 was colder, quieter. I was half asleep when I heard the zipper. Not mine. It was the other tent, the one with Kyle and Jules. The sound was fast, like someone yanking it open hard. I sat up instantly. Silence. Then footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Slow, deliberate, circling the tent. I held my breath. I swear I could hear the nylon of our tent moving as if someone lightly brushed it with their hand. Then, voices again, low, garbled, too quiet to make out at first. Then it clicked. They were our voices. Mine, Kyle's, even Jules'. Phrases we had said earlier that day, word for word, repeated but out of order. I didn't touch the boots. Maybe it's just a joke. We should head back. I didn't touch the boots, again and again, like a recording played back on a loop with some lines missing. I wanted to wake Mark, but I couldn't move. Then, I swear on everything, something pressed down on the tent wall right beside my face. Fingers. I could see the indent of each one through the fabric. They just rested there, light and slow, like someone testing the pressure. Then it vanished. I waited maybe 30 minutes before unzipping the tent and stepping out with my knife. No one was there, but I smelled something sharp, like copper and sweat. And far off, deeper in the woods, I saw a faint flicker, like a flashlight bobbing, then gone. The next morning, Kyle was gone. Gone! His sleeping bag was unzipped but not disturbed, like he just got up and left. We yelled, we searched, we hiked for miles, but there was no trail, no prints, no signs. And his Crocs, they were still sitting by the tent. He didn't even take his shoes. That was when the panic set in. We started arguing. Jules said maybe Kyle had a breakdown and wandered off. Mark swore he heard him whisper something at 3 a.m, but thought he was dreaming. I told them what I saw, the voices, the hand on the tent, the flashlight. They didn't laugh. Mark grabbed the satellite phone, the one we kept in case of emergency. It was dead. Fully dead. It had been charged before the trip. I checked it myself. We made the call then. We were leaving. But here's the thing. The trail was gone. I don't mean overgrown or blocked. I mean gone. The markers we left, red ribbon, stacked rocks, they weren't there. Even the terrain didn't look right. It was like we'd never been there in the first place. We huddled at the edge of where the trail should have been, backpacks strapped, eyes darting through the pines like we were waiting for something to move. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Mark said what we were all thinking. This is bullshit. That trail didn't just disappear. He was trying to sound angry, but his voice cracked on the last word. I walked a few feet ahead and looked around. The trees didn't match. They weren't the same. Where there used to be a big, bent cedar with a blaze mark, there was now just thick underbrush. No signs of anything human. Jules pulled out the compass, spun it in circles. The needle kept twitching, wobbling, refusing to lock in. We picked a direction. South, we thought, and started walking, just to find a landmark, a road, anything. After 2 hours, we were back at camp. I swear to you, we never turned around, never looped. We kept a straight line, but somehow we ended up back there. Everything was untouched, fire pit still cold, tents undisturbed, but there were new boot prints in the dirt, barefoot and long, wider than any of ours, with deep heel digs like someone was walking slowly, deliberately, circling. Mark started laughing. The kind of laugh that isn't funny, more like his mind was cracking under the weight. "This is a prank, man. Someone's fucking with us. Maybe Kyle's in on it. He's hiding, laughing somewhere right now." But Jules wasn't buying it. He didn't take his shoes. Who goes barefoot into the goddamn woods? That night, we set watches. Mark took first. I woke up to Jules shaking me. She looked pale as a ghost, whispering, "Mark's gone." It had only been 20 minutes. His sleeping bag was there, still zipped. No sign of a struggle. But the knife he kept under his pillow, that was gone. And there were more prints now. Barefoot ones circling again. Only this time, they weren't just outside. They were between the tents. We were frozen. Not just from fear. The air felt colder, like something was sucking the heat out of the forest. Then we heard it. Footsteps. Not loud, but wet. Like someone walking across moss with blood-slick feet. And then, voices. Not just mimicking anymore. Conversational. Like we were listening to ourselves talk from earlier in the day. Except it was wrong. Like someone trying to recreate our conversations. Repeating words out of order, laughs at the wrong times. Jules covered her ears. "Make it stop," she whispered. "Please, just make it stop." And then came the scream. It wasn't Mark. It wasn't any of us. It was a child. A child screaming like they were being gutted alive. Then silence. I don't remember much after that, just that we didn't sleep. We just sat up, holding our knives, waiting. By dawn, Jules was gone. No sound, no struggle, just a long drag mark in the dirt, leading toward the river. By the time I saw the drag mark in the dirt, it was already too late. It started at Jules's tent, cutting through pine needles and stones, leading toward the thickest part of the woods, past the river. I followed it only a few feet before something hit me. The forest was wrong. It was too quiet again. No birds, no wind, just my own heartbeat, pounding like a war drum. And the smell, not pine anymore. Something sour, like rotten meat soaked in metal. I called out for Jules. Nothing. I should have gone back. Should have packed up and booked it, trail or no trail. But I couldn't leave her. Not like that. I crossed the river, slipped, dunked 1 foot in ice-cold water, but kept going. The drag mark continued, weaving between trees that looked like they'd been clawed. Not by animals. The gashes were too uniform, like fingernails. Human ones. After maybe 20 minutes of stumbling through uneven terrain, I found something hanging in a tree. One of Jules's socks, hung neatly on a broken branch. That's when I knew whoever, or whatever, was doing this wanted me to follow. And I did. Another 100 yards and I found the knife. Mark's knife. Jammed into the trunk of a tree and carved into the bark right above it. Almost there. I backed away, hands shaking. Everything in me screamed to turn around. And that's when I heard them again. Footsteps coming fast. I dropped to the ground behind a fallen log, holding my breath. Someone passed just feet from me, barefoot, filthy, wearing a tattered hoodie that looked weirdly familiar. Then it hit me. It was Kyle's hoodie. But the man inside, it wasn't Kyle. He was too thin, Wrong posture, limbs too long, like he'd been stretched. He stopped, sniffed the air. Then he said my name, in my voice. "Hey man, where'd you go?" He paused, tilted his head like a dog listening to a far-off whistle. Then, "Come on, it's okay now. We found her. She's safe." He started walking again, slowly, toward the deeper woods. I waited until he was gone. Then I ran. I don't even remember crossing back over the river, just bursting through the brush into our empty campsite. Breath ragged, vision tunneling. Everything was torn, the tents slashed, my pack dumped. Even the cooler was tipped and emptied. On the fire pit stones, someone had scratched something with a blade. "Sounds like you," I screamed. I don't remember doing it, but my throat was raw. Then I saw the sat phone again, sitting neatly beside my sleeping bag. Powered on. I picked it up, hands trembling. Battery 100%. One missed call from my own number. I didn't touch it. I threw it into the trees and started running. I had no direction, no trail, but I couldn't stay there. Somewhere deep in those woods I heard laughing. Not funny, not real, and I swear, it sounded like all of us at once. I ran until my legs gave out. My lungs were burning, my face scratched raw by low branches, but I couldn't stop hearing that laughter. It wasn't chasing me. That would have made sense. No, it was ahead of me. No matter where I turned, the forest wrapped tighter. The trees looked too close, too tall, like the whole landscape was shrinking around me. I collapsed near a fallen log and threw up bile. My hands were trembling so hard I couldn't grip the knife anymore. I think I left it there. As the sun started to dip again, I found a clearing. Small, perfectly round, like it had been burned into the earth decades ago. And in the center of it, a mirror, full length, cracked down the middle, just sitting there like it belonged. I approached slowly, every nerve in my body on high alert. When I got close enough to see my reflection, I flinched. It was me, but not. The me in the mirror was smiling, wide, too wide, teeth like mine, but wrong, jagged, yellow, inhuman. I stumbled back. The reflection didn't. It kept smiling, then mouthed something. I couldn't hear it, but I knew what it was saying. "Let me out." I turned and sprinted. Again. As night fell, the temperature dropped like a rock. I didn't have my gear, no jacket, no light, just a dying phone battery and the overwhelming realization that I was alone. Or worse, not. At some point in the dark, I found a structure, a shack. It looked abandoned, but the door was open like someone had just stepped out for a minute. I went inside. Rotten floorboards, a broken lantern, torn camping gear, some of it decades old, and the stench, mildew, piss, something sour that made my eyes water. Then I saw the wall, covered in Polaroids, rows and rows of them. Every photo was of someone asleep, in tents, in hammocks, curled near campfires. Some looked recent, others were so faded you could barely see the faces. But I recognized a few. Mark, Kyle, Jules, me, all of us, sleeping. There was a sound then, a sharp, clean snap. I turned around. Nothing. But the door was shut. I didn't shut it. The air got thicker. The shack felt like it was shrinking. I backed into a corner and grabbed a broken tent pole for defense. And then a voice. Right behind me. Close. Whispering. But it wasn't one voice. It was all of ours. Overlapping. Mocking. "Where'd you go, man? Let me out. It's okay now. She's safe. You're dreaming. You're dreaming. You're dreaming." I screamed and swung the pole wildly, hit a wall, knocked down photos. Something ran past me. I didn't see it, just felt the air shift. Then the door creaked open again. Outside. Silence. No bugs. No wind. But the trail was there. Clear. Obvious. And at the very end of it, a light. Like a fire. I didn't trust it. But what choice did I have? I stepped out. And that's when I heard my own voice again. Not a whisper this time, a yell. It was coming from the direction of the light. But it wasn't me calling for help. It was me begging. "Please stop. Please, I'll do whatever you want. Just let them go. Please." It was my voice, but I'd never said those words. I hadn't gotten the chance to yet. The path to the fire was too perfect. No roots, no rocks. Just smooth, packed dirt like a goddamn movie set. I walked slow, every step echoing too loud in the stillness. The trees on either side looked darker now. Wrong, like they weren't really trees at all, but something dressed to look like trees. And that fire up ahead, it wasn't flickering. It was holding still, like a photo. As I stepped into the clearing, my breath stopped. They were there. Jules, Mark, Kyle, sitting around the fire, but not them. Their bodies looked right, sort of, but they were off. Their heads twitched when they turned. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. Their clothes were pristine, the same ones they'd been wearing, but too clean, like replicas. "Hey man," Kyle said, grinning too wide. "We were waiting for you." Mark patted the empty log beside him. "Have a seat." I didn't move. Jules cocked her head. "You're the last one." Then, from behind me, my voice. "He's almost ready." I turned around and saw me. Standing a few feet back, shirtless, barefoot. Same hair, same scar on my wrist from that stupid night in freshman year. Except his eyes were pitch black. He walked forward, slow. "You brought them here. You opened the path." I backed up. My foot hit something. A bag, mine. But I hadn't had it since the tents were torn up. Inside, everything was neatly packed. Phone, charger, even the camping stove. All clean, all untouched. Like I was supposed to pick it up and just go. Kyle, or the thing wearing him, spoke again. "It's easier when one of you leads the rest. Mark, you made it so easy. Jules, they always follow the funny one." That's when I snapped. I screamed, real, primal rage, and threw the bag into the fire. It didn't burn. The flames went right through it, like it wasn't even real. Then they all stood. At once. The same way. Mechanical. They opened their mouths and screamed. All three. Not in pain, not in fear, but in mockery, screaming in my voice again and again, until I dropped to my knees, hands over my ears, sobbing. "Make it stop," I begged. "I'll do anything. Just make it stop." And then it did. Silence. When I looked up, they were gone. The fire was gone. The clearing was gone. I was in a field, sun rising over a gravel road. Someone in a pickup truck spotted me, said I looked like I'd been through hell. I didn't argue. I couldn't speak for hours. That was 6 months ago. The cops never found Kyle, Mark, or Jules. I told them they wandered off, got lost. But I hear them. At night. Sometimes my phone rings, no number, no sound, just breathing. And in the silence, sometimes I hear them laughing, in my voice, saying different words,